Um,
Sorry. Hi, everybody.
Hello. So yeah, with Project Broadcast, now that I'm getting into it and testing it out, I feel like it's a great way to just give yourself a breather, like sending out messages that you wanted to get out. It's like, oh, okay, at least I got that out. Inform people what's going on. And Allison's been giving great tips. I like when she talked about the keywords. So I'm still trying to figure some things out with keywords and all that stuff in campaigns.
It is a journey for sure, an experience. And thank you for saying that. And I just thank you also for bringing up Project Broadcast, because we have now got a Facebook page just relegated to that for you all. It makes it easier than the Voxer chat, so that you can search for and find things on Facebook in that. So if you're not in our Many Champions Project Broadcast Facebook group, hit us up, hit me or Allison or Lee up. We'll make sure you get in. Thank you, Leticia. Anybody else? What is just like smacking you up and down and around and getting you going and excited about Juice Plus that we've done so far? Or maybe it's something entirely different. You just showed up tonight to tell us. Anything? Anybody?
Well, I am excited about the QR code. At first, when I saw, I was like, when am I going to use that? And then I realized I'm having an event in January. One of the studios that I work for has invited me to do a New Year, New You event. So I get to present Juice Plus there. So I'm excited to do that. So I tried to download it, and for some reason I'm having an issue, but I am excited about pushing through and figuring that out.
Well, I don't see Times Square in the background, so I'm thinking you're home now.
I am home. Yes.
I can't wait to hear about it. Awesome. QR codes. I still want to get a few other things mastered, but yes, that sounds exciting. Anybody else? We got time for one more person to light everybody up about what you're excited about that you're utilizing now.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Rihanna, are you going?
I don't care.
Okay.
I'll go. So just real quick, I wanted to say thank you guys so much for this opportunity to do this. I know it's going to really be beneficial. I haven't really had a chance to delve into it at all, the Project Broadcast. But going to GoPro this last weekend was amazing. And I feel like it really just fits in with what we're doing here. And so I'm just super excited about all of that.
Excellent. So I didn't get to take advantage very much of GoPro. Any one thing stand out for you, Vienna?
There was a lot of takeaways, but the main thing I think was just the fact that someone, and I know we've heard it before, but it just really, when you hear from all those people on the stage and everything, and it's just the fact of there are so many people out there that are praying for something that we have, whether it be, you know, the product or the community or the business in general, because they need extra money. So it was just really impactful.
I love that you got that from that. Thank you for sharing that. And Brianna, you were talking at the same time, so let's hear from you real quick.
Okay, I am loving the ad tag ATM. I'm just shorten it. I don't have a lot of messages happening, but I've added some people, and I'm waiting for them to accept my invites. But I have like 10 so far. They weren't all on my original 25 list. I actually added other people over the course of some conversations. So I'm enjoying being able to do that from my home.
So awesome. So I have a question, just by raise of hands. How many of you think that utilizing ad tag message and Project Broadcast, because we're moving into the subject of daily method of operation, might, if it hasn't already, changed your DMO and made your A activity so much more on point? Raise your hand. By raising your hand, show me if you think that it's made a difference there. Boom. All right. Leah, I'm ready. I think Allison's going to play a video for you. Thank you so much for putting this together tonight. I would kiss your feet if I was next to you because my input on tonight was minimal. So
Thank you. And it was so good to hear everybody's feedback on what's really resonating with you right now. And I want to show a really short video for us to get started. The video is specifically about the power of consistency. There are probably a lot of videos that could be shown about the power of consistency, but I chose one that's related to basketball. And I want you to listen to it and think about how what is being shared relates to our craft and what we do. And then I want to have a brief conversation about it after the video is over. So if you have it up, I've got it up too, Allison.
I have it up, but I can't screen share.
I can't either.
Okay.
All right, you're gonna have to.
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead and
Okay. Woo, I'm glad I did take a nap, even though
Who are you making host or co-host?
I'm
here,
gonna
Mary?
do Leah. I'll do
Okay,
you
then Leah, you can share it.
All right, great.
in a minute when I finish all of that silliness. Okay.
It says Allison is, not me.
Of course it does.
I can do it real quick.
All right, go Allison.
All right,
I don't know
hang
what
on here.
happened.
Probably. Okay.
Okay, now you both are just in case.
Understanding a long-term view became important because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year.
Can't hear it,
So
Allison.
that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to
Can you turn it up?
All right, what do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this.
Let's start it over and then turn it up all the way.
It is all the way up on my end and I
All right,
can't.
let me try. You guys let me know if this is any louder.
Understanding the idea of understanding a long-term view became important because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year, right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought, all right? What do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. You focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better. Right?
And then you mean like I've got my jump shot from 15. I've got
I got my jump shot
fadeaway,
from 15. I got my 3-point shot, like just open shots, not miss open shots, right? Be able to shoot it with speed because those kids are so much more athletic. And the next summer I came back, it was a little better. And the summer came back,
You
next summer,
scored.
it was a little better. I scored.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't much,
Right.
but I scored.
This
You know,
is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old. And then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. But they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to me. And my body, you know, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame.
Then your athleticism. Once you have the fundamentals,
Exactly.
the hard work, the mindset, and you tack on the athleticism. That's the big game over.
Then it was game.
Wow. So from 13, you're good, average.
I was good. I was good. Then about like the end of my third, like right when I was turning 14, I became the best player in the state. 14 to 14.
So from 12 to 14, you went from scoring 0 to being the best in the
Yep.
state of all ages.
Yeah. But it's simple. Like if you do the math on this, right? Like if you're thinking about how often kids are playing, right? And I tell this to my daughter. My daughter's team as well that I coach. It's a simple thing of math. If you want to be a great player, if you play every single day, 2-3 hours, every single day, over the course of a year, how much better are you getting? Most kids will play maybe an hour and a half, 2 days a week. Do the math on it. It's not going to get it done. Get it done, right? So if you're obsessive with training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, 2 years,
Just in the summer, 2 weeks, you see it. You see it, you get a lot better, you come back more confident.
And like I tell the parents, this is when I said your kids are going to become great basketball players. And like, That's it.
Show up every single day.
Show up every single day, do the work.
Okay, so do more, say less. I like that motto. I want to hear briefly from you guys, what is one thing, if a couple of people want to unmute, what is something that really stuck out to you that you heard that resonates with you with your personal business and maybe what you've experienced or learned to be true about your business?
I think I've learned that my enthusiasm is really contagious. And sometimes I can get in a habit of just kind of quelling that and just not really, I don't know, just putting forth that excitement surrounding my business. I kind of get in a tunnel vision as far as just going through the motions of day to day. But I realize that whenever I'm energetic and passionate about it, and realize then that it's helping other people, then that just like comes back to me. So I need to just keep going forward with that level of energy surrounding what I'm doing.
Yeah, energy definitely matters. And I see some things that are great in the chat too. Stick to the fundamentals. How relevant do you think that is in our business? When you get started in your business and the things you're teaching brand new people to do when they get started, do you continue to do those even after you've achieved positions beyond that? Yeah, those are the same exact fundamental activities that you're going to do whether you are a P+ or a PMD+. And so the basics and doing the basics over and over and over has a compound effect. Did you hear the theme of that in what was being shared? There's a compound effect of focusing on the fundamentals and showing up every single day. So this is like Kobe Bryant. I mean, and he said it was math. He said, think about it. What are most people going to do? What are most people going to do with their network marketing business, for instance? Most people are probably going to touch it here and there, a few minutes, a couple of days a week, maybe. Now, it's okay if that's what they've decided to do. So this conversation isn't about the fact that it's not okay for them to do that, because everyone gets to choose what they want. And maybe that's all that they want out of their business. But you guys are on this call because you want more out of your network marketing business. You want more out of your Juice Plus business, right? So that is going to require a different level of commitment when it comes to showing up if you want the types of outcomes that match your expectations. So any other quick thoughts on that?
I think every forward movement in my business has been a result of me showing up. So like the part where it says show up is what's really stood out to me. And it was just really cool to hear that from him. Cause I think sometimes we think like, oh, he just, whoever, is, in the spotlight, it's just, they just got lucky or whatever, but it's so not true.
They just naturally had the ability. It came easy for them. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that there's a lot of power behind having a clear vision of where you're wanting to go, and then following that with consistency of action. And really one of the number one reasons that people in our industry don't move forward or reach their goal is because they quit before they get the outcomes that they would get by continuing to keep going. And I bet every single one of you, is there anybody on here that can raise their hand and say that you saw outcomes that you wouldn't have seen had you quit before they happened? Or maybe like you were kind of like, okay, when is this ever gonna come back around, all this activity that I'm doing? Yeah, I think we can all resonate with that. And likewise, can everybody resonate with having a clear vision of where you want to go and having the willingness to work, but like battling how to be consistent on a regular basis? Has anybody dealt with that? And maybe it's a season of life thing. Like, what does it look like for me to be consistent and show up regularly? Not just show up and like organize your desk and like, reach out to your team because they're easy to reach out to because they're already there, but like actually doing the income producing activity, connecting with people. Has everybody experienced the challenge of staying consistent with that?
Mhm.
I mean, if we're all being honest, we all have. It doesn't matter what level of the company you're in. We've all experienced that. So the reason that we're having this conversation with you guys is because we know the power of everyone building the foundation of consistency. And it's more than just telling yourself, okay, I got to be more consistent. There's actually some things you need to put into place that will help you get on the path of consistency. And so we're going to talk about three main things. What do I do? When do I do it? And how often do I do it? Okay. So first of all, what do I do? And I'm going to answer this a couple different ways, but the super boiled down way of answering what do we do is we connect with people and get customers, and we teach others how to connect with people and get customers. Okay, that's what we do. And we were reminded on the Wendy Campbell NMD Zoom today that, the people that win the most are going to be the people that are making the most connections with people. And connecting with people looks different in different seasons of life, in different, shifts within our culture. And we're all experiencing that right now. Some of the things we did in the past to connect with people aren't working the same way now. And so we're learning to shift and make connections in other ways, but it's still the same concept. It's still, when it's boiled down, the basic element, it's about connecting with people and how you're connecting with people. So that's what we do. But there's another aspect to what we do, and that's what I want to encourage you guys to consider when it comes to skills. I'm going to give you some skills in each of these categories tonight. And one of the first things that we need to do in order to set ourselves up for consistency is we need to priority plan. And we need to have a clear DMO, because your DMO is your what. It's what you're doing with the time you have. But your priority planning is what are your most important activities, your MITs. I like to call them MITs. So your most important tasks throughout the week. So how many of you use a priority planner or know what that is? Anybody doesn't know? Raise your hand if you don't know what a priority planner is. Okay, so it looks like everybody knows what it is. And the one I use is the one that Catherine Lee created. It looks like this. And you can replicate your own version of it pretty simply, because all it is categories at the top of your page, and you're writing categories of priority. So for me, every single week, it usually goes, Jesus, self, marriage, family, homeschool, business, other. Like I always have to have an other category. So you've got your main buckets at the top, and then underneath the buckets for that particular week, you're outlining what are the main priorities that I have in each of these areas for this particular week. So it's helping you before the week even starts, name the most important things. How many people, I better not be the only one that can resonate with this. How many of you know what it feels like to feel really busy and feel like you must have gotten a lot of things done, but like you didn't end up getting any connections done or marking anything off your list? And you're kind of like, what did I do that whole time? So I think it's something we can all resonate with, because a lot of times that happens when we get caught in a moment or in a week where we haven't yet been able to get clear about what the main priorities are for that week. So getting stuff done isn't the only thing that matters. It's getting the most important things done. So I want to encourage you, if you are not already implementing a weekly planning tool like that, I really encourage you to do that, because that needs to be done before time blocking, and we'll get to time blocking. But first, you need a bird's eye view of what's most important. And so for your business, in order for you to be clear on the most important things for your business, you need to do it. But also, in order to get the things done with your business, it's important to be clear about what your other priorities in other areas are too. Otherwise, your business can easily get run over with all those other things that happen. Sometimes it's the first to go. So in order to hold your boundaries with your business, it's going to be important too. Any quick questions about priority planning? We're still under the what do I do? So you prioritize, and you have a clear DMO. So what I want to say about the DMO is that all of you on here have been introduced to a DMO before. You've probably all practiced some sort of DMO before, and they're all going to have similar similarities in the types of things that it includes. One of the things that I personally am really excited about is that Mary and Allison and I have been talking about having a basic, an intermediate, and an advanced DMO. So here's the deal. When you first get started in the business, you don't necessarily need the DMO that I do, right, with my business today. And so having a couple of options that are scalable with your DMO is huge, because it gives you the ability to duplicate well with new team at a level that's appropriate to them, but it also gives you the opportunity to scale up based on where you are now and where you want to go in your business. And so the basic DMO is something that's going to be, you're going to see it show up in the Partner Plus to QSC campaign that we are working to finish up for Project Broadcast, where it walks a person from their milestone of hitting P+ to QSC, and it will introduce to them a basic DMO that basically is eat, share, connect. You eat your product and you show yourself eating it. You share it with people and you connect, which could be in one-on-one relationships. Connect could mean connecting in on social media, but it's those three basic things that you do consistently. Think about how powerful it is, even for a brand new person, to have a DMO that's so simple they could do it in 15 minutes. If they actually did a 15-minute DMO every day, how much progress they would make in the long run. So the intermediate is in the chat. Okay, I couldn't type it out like I wanted to, because if I press enter, it sends what I already typed out. But anyway, you get the gist. So it's 5 pieces. You're doing invites, and we've talked about inviting using the ATM system in large part, but you can invite in the way, like if you're somebody that's just like crushing live events, then by all means invite to live events. But in large part, we are teaching ATM because of the duplicatability of it. So you're inviting, you're doing follow-ups. And what do follow-ups look like? Follow-ups are connecting in on those messages that you already have opened with people that you've ATM'd. Sometimes you need to get on those messages and kind of prompt again, to keep the conversation going. And it's also, the follow-up category also is you connecting to the people that are connecting to you on social. So it might mean they liked one of your posts, they commented on one of your posts, something where it opens up a door. And I would consider that a follow-up too. You're following up with somebody that's interacting with you in some way. Number 3, customer care, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. And number 4, team mentoring. This is where sometimes I think we can easily put too much time. And that's kind of what we call going into admin. So you want to be mindful, like you only want to support your team at the level they need in order for them to continue to become more independent. You're pointing them in the right direction. If they have a question, ATM them in the answer inside the team page, point them in the right direction. You could do quick check-ins, that sort of thing. Thank you, Allison. That looks much nicer. Okay. So number 5 is social media, because we want people to begin to learn the importance of connecting into social each day. So for you, if it's new for you, it might just mean you're doing a post. That's how I started, is consistency with my posts. And then I added consistency with stories. And then I added consistency with reels. So you can scale it to where you are. All right. So that is the what. And this probably doesn't sound a whole lot different than other DMOs that we've presented in the past. But one of the things that I would encourage you to do is when you're planning out your week, think in light of these categories and how, when you invest your time into your business that day, these are going to be your top number 1 things that you want to do before you do anything else. If you got nothing else done, you want to touch your DMO. So any questions or quick comments on that?
Yes, you mentioned, oh, sorry, I'm low. There we go. All right, you mentioned that the project broadcast, you can utilize it for social media. Can you touch that?
Oh, I wasn't saying use it for social media. I was saying use it for all these different, like for your different DMO categories, because you can use it for customer care, you can use it, that sort of thing. You can use it for connecting with teams.
Okay, got you. I was like, I didn't see that. I need that.
Yeah. So
okay.
Basically, we wanted that little note in there because Project Broadcast doesn't need to be its own category within the DMO. We just want everybody to remember, hey, when you're utilizing your Project Broadcast for connections with customers or team or whatever it may be with prospects that are wanting to learn more, you're crossing into the categories that are part of your DMO. So let your Project Broadcast serve you in amplifying your DMO. But that's a great clarification. Okay, so when do you do it? So this is where time blocking comes in. So you've prioritized your week, and then it's time to actually look at your calendar. If you're a digital person, which, is there anybody on here that's digital versus a paper planner? All right. Okay. So I can talk to all my paper planner people, because I don't really know what to say about the whole, like I do certain things digitally, but paper planning is what I love to do when I'm time blocking and I'm planning out my week. So you get your paper planner out, and the very first thing you need to do is you go through, and actually, I'm going to put a bookmark there, and I want to hop really quick to when do I do it, because I actually think answering this question is going to be helpful to do before you go into the time blocking. So when do you do it? What I'm getting at here is setting your time intention. How much time are you able and willing to invest in your business every week to get the outcome that you're looking for? And my recommendation is that you think about it in terms of 30 to 90 days. preferably 90, but no more than 90. So you're setting your intention for a 90-day window of time. So you're thinking, okay, for the next 90 days, what am I able and willing to put in, and what outcome am I wanting in that 90 days? And we're about to go into a new year. So I would even encourage you to consider what we call a 90-day game plan. Eric Worre talks about it. We're not going to go into it tonight, but I know there are several of you that are contemplating doing a 90-day game plan. And the reason is because it's 90 days to take serious consideration of what am I able and willing to sacrifice just for this 90-day window of time in order to open up the opportunity to invest in my business at a higher level, because of the outcomes that I would get on the other side of that. The type of momentum you can get in that period of time actually could take you 2 years from now, and you could be, reaping the fruit of that. So you're asking amount of time, and that's actually going to be one of your homework assignments, is you're going to identify an amount of time and maybe think in ranges. The first time I was ever introduced to this concept was in 2014. And I was a young mom of 2 kids. And I was a sales coordinator, and I was really struggling to figure out when to work my business at all through the day. I've always been a show up person. So I was always showing up and I was doing the things, but I wasn't necessarily reaching out to new people and doing like income producing activity. And I was struggling to feel like I even had the time anywhere to do it. So it was a big stretch for me to choose. I remember choosing 10 hours a week. I was like, I feel like I can't even get 5. How am I going to do 10? But I really wanted a shift in my business. And so I chose for 90 days to commit to 10 hours. And therefore it required me to get really clear about what I was going to do at that time, because I wasn't going to sacrifice the things I was sacrificing unless I made the time well worth it. And that's the thing about creating that time frame. So once you know the ballpark of how much time you're going to put in, you can go to your paper planner, and the very first thing I do is I just block it out. I don't put anything in the time. I just put my big blocks in of, okay, I'm going to get to work it a little bit on Monday morning. Usually for me, every afternoon, I have a little bit of time, in like 1 or 2 evenings a week. So I figure my time out, I put my blocks in, and then after I do that, I go back to the priority planner, look at my MITs for the list, most important tasks. Number 1 is your DMO. So if the only time you have is 15 minutes, what are you going to do? You're going to do your DMO. That's like easy, no decision making required. You just do your DMO. If you have time beyond that, then you're going to look at other priorities that you have on your list. And so you can start actually writing them into those blocks of time so that I know I'm not alone. When I sit down, my brain is a million directions. I'm homeschooling in the morning, and then I go pick up my 5-year-old from pre-K, and then we zip home. I put my youngest one down for a nap, and I sit down at my desk, and like literally my brain is still trying to catch up to me. So I need my planner to tell me exactly what to do. Otherwise, I'll be honest, like I will sit and do mindless things that make me feel like I'm getting things done, and I'm not actually getting important things done. So that you're doing yourself a favor to do that time blocking piece. So, so that's going to be your when do you do it? And then your how often is setting your time intention. And I think it's really important to note that celebrating small wins and understanding the fact that any big win that you get is going to come from an accumulation of small wins. If you sat down and you did a 15-minute DMO, what is something Catherine Lee talks about? She actually might have it. Oh yeah, she calls it a cue or a reward. Like it doesn't mean you have to go like to Cheesecake Factory every day and like celebrate the fact that you did it, but like it could be a small cue or a reward. Like for me, it may be like, that's when I'm going to get to have my kombucha, is after I do my DMO or whatever it is. But if you have something that your brain likes rewards, so celebrate the small wins, because that's what's going to create a positive experience for your brain, and you're going to want to continue to do it. It creates consistency, and consistency is always going to take more work on the front end. And I think it's important to remember that. It's like a plane taking off. It takes like, I don't even know the statistic. It's like a massive amount of jet fuel just to get the plane off the ground, way less than it takes to keep it in the air once it's in the air. So I think that going into the new year, this is just an important piece. So you're going to determine how many hours. I think what you want to do even before you determine your amount of hours, is you're going to determine for what time frame. Are you going to do it for 30 days, 90 days? I recommend 90. January, you could say January, February, March, and it takes you all the way through the last business month before conference. And you're setting an intention for the amount of time that you're able and willing to put in each week on your business during that 90-day window of time. And then I want you to, so we meet again next Monday, and next Monday is going to be our final meeting, and it's going to be takeaways. So it's going to be a lot about you guys sharing what's working for you. What steps have you taken that have been beneficial in this 4-week period of time that we've been together? So what I do want you to do, since we're not meeting until next Monday night, you already need to have your plan for next week in place before we meet, because it's Monday night. So you need a plan before Monday. So I want you, if you haven't ever used something like a priority planner, you can use your own version, but prioritize your week and take a picture of it and post it on our page that we have together. I'll put a little post up so you guys could just put it in the comments, and you're going to let your sponsor know how many hours and what time frame that you are committing to in order to get the outcome that you're looking for in your business. And if you haven't established that, that's a given. You need to establish what outcome you're looking for and make sure that you and your sponsor are aligned on that. And after you do your priority planner, and we'll put this in the Facebook page, so if you miss any of it, it'll be typed out on there. But you're putting 2 screenshots, one of your priority planner and one of your time block for the week, where you have actually identified what you're doing and when you're doing it. And the biggest part of this, you guys, is what, like the reports after you've done that week. So you're going to plan next week, but we want to hear, well, what happens as a result of prioritizing and planning that week and having established, even if your 90 days doesn't start next week, you can practice, right? Like you could practice what you're planning to implement if you're starting, let's say, the beginning of January. Okay, so tell me, we've got 3 minutes. I want to hear any quick questions that you have, or if you have a quick takeaway, you can share that too. And I'm going to leave you with some blow your mind quotes. So anybody got anything?
I have a question, Leah.
Okay.
Oh, who was that? You can go.
The time blocks, is that just for income producing activities? I was just wondering if you include the Zooms and.
Your time block is actually for anything business related. It's just that you want to make sure that the first thing that you time block and prioritize is your income producing activity. But I have time I invest in my business beyond IPAs. So like you're saying, I'm obviously going to time block those in too. Good question.
So I was just wanted to see if you could kind of go over what a time frame meant. like? So, you could time block in 15 minutes, or you could have a 3-hour time block.
Yeah. So this is what I do. I mean, it's going to be different for everybody depending on your schedule. So an example would be one of the most consistent times for me every day is 1:30 to 3 p.m. because that's when my 1-year-old is sleeping. And so I will block that hour and a half out, but I will filter activities in. And sometimes the activity might take 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take an hour. And so it depends on the activity, but it doesn't matter what I do. One of the things that helps me is I will set 15-minute timers. So if I'm doing my social media post or whatever, even if I'm working on something that I know is going to take me 30 minutes, I'm going to still set a 15-minute timer because it helps hold me accountable to staying focused and not getting distracted by, oh, let me check my email really quick. Heaven forbid, let me open up Voxer right now and see if I have any messages. Do not do that, you guys. I've done that so many times, and then I'm like lost in the Voxer hole. And then I'm like, shoot, all my time is gone. I didn't do these things. So don't open up Voxer. Setting a timer helps you stay focused on what the main thing is that you're getting done right then. Okay. So to answer your question, Allison, the amount of time block is going to vary per person, but you could break that time into smaller increments so that it helps you move forward on the most important things. Okay, so I've got a couple of quotes. If you like these type of conversations, like I love conversations about productivity and being efficient with your time. And actually he does way more than that, but there's a guy named James Clear. He wrote a book called Atomic Habits. You can sign up for his weekly emails, and he literally delivers the most impact per like word of anyone on the internet. He does not waste a word. And so I've got a couple of quotes I'm going to share with you from him. Okay, this one is, when making plans, think big. When making progress, think small. I think that's really important and very relevant to what we're talking about with consistency. Okay, and you can usually accomplish more by giving something your full effort for a few years rather than giving it lukewarm effort for 50 years. Pick a priority for this season of your life and do it to the best of your ability. And I think that's a similar mindset to the 90-day game plan. You can elevate your activity for 90 days and get more outcomes than you could just doing a little bit here and there for 5 years. And I know that because I actually just realized that when I went from SC to SSC, it happened like in a 2-month window of time, but I've been in SC for 5.5 years. It happened because I did a 90-day game plan. I didn't even know that's what it was. I just realized recently that's exactly what I did. And that momentum actually was what ended up taking us to NMD too, even though we continued activity, but it was that initial 90-day game plan that did that. So you can elevate effort for a period of time and get more out of it than maybe you could ever achieve doing a little bit. That's the beauty of our business, is that we actually have a business where it can apply to that principle, and is something to consider, as we're going into the new year, especially since you can scale it to what works for your life. All right, you guys, it is 2 minutes past, so I'm going to let us hop off here, and I will post the homework assignment on the Facebook pages so that you guys have it. But I hope that some of this was helpful and that you have some good next steps to practice that will help you on the path of increased consistency, because when we're consistent, it also sets us up to love people more fully and more effectively too. All right, Mary,